everyone, we have this one very last design left from our Rooms of Wonder page. I'm really excited to do it because I love colouring mushrooms, toadstools, and although I've done it before, I'm going to do it really differently this time, so it's going to be good fun. So let's make a start. I'm going to do them in pairs. Well, this pair, this pair, this pair, and this one. I'm going to start with the big ones, and they are going to be red. I think I do like red. I'm going to do red mushrooms, probably a bit dull, but you know. I'm going to start with dark red for the edges. And what I'm going to do is make them a little lighter in the centre than on the edge, so that they look a bit more shapely and a bit more interesting, really. So I'm beginning to fade my red here, just doing a light layer. As you can see, it's much darker here than here. I'm just going to layer that up. We'll do the same over here, because it's really dark here and lighter here. It seems a long time since I did this one before with my Staedtler Design Journey pencils in the back of the book. It was good fun, but they were a little bit random and mad in all sorts of mixed colours. So these are going to be a little bit more conventional, sensible, not sure what the right word is, but let's go for it. Okay, so that's our dark red. Now we're going to go slightly lighter. Oh, the sun's come out. It's luckily not shading on the page. This is number 223, which I am just looking on my list and desperately trying to find. Deep red. Sorry, that took me a long time, didn't it? So I'm going to go over the dark red and then extend the colour. I want quite a hard layer here, and then we can start to do less towards the middle. So I'm not going to use too many colours because it's such a small little mushroom toadstool. It's the whole thing. It's a new hybrid. It's a mushroom toadstool. I'm sure I read that one are a subset of the other. So either mushrooms are a type of toadstool or toadstools are a type of mushroom, I think. But I might just be making that up. I used to think as a child that all mushrooms were edible and all toadstools were poisonous. I think that's what the fairy stories and kiddies books would tell us, but I don't think that's true at all now, so I don't know. We're going to now use the Pale Geranium Lake, which is a nice light red for the last colour. It's looking really dark. I think it's because the sun's shining on the lamp. It thinks that it's light in here, but anyway, hopefully it'll be alright. I can adjust the colour in editing if it's really bad. So I'm going to sort of put a light layer in the middle, just go over all of it. It sort of helps to burnish in that dark red and blend it all together as well. Let me have a look in the camera. Yeah, happy with that. Sometimes you need to sit back and have a look rather than focusing really closely. I'm doing another colouring piece at the moment for myself, not in a video. I'll show you, of course. It's not like private. But what I mean is I'm not recording it. And I've done a background, and if you stand back and look at the background, it looks really nice. If you examine it in fine detail, you can see all the little errors and bits that aren't completely shaded nicely or blended nicely, I mean, and things like that. It's just a matter of trying to look at it carefully so that you don't see all the errors. Right, so there is our pair. I think they look very jolly. Underneath the white spots, I want to put a little bit of shadow. I'm going to use my dark sepia for that. I find it's a good one for doing shadows and things. I'm just going to go underneath, and it just makes that look like it's protruding a little bit. I'm going to try very hard not to get any on the white bit. It's quite tricky, and there is red on them on this one anyway. Oops, that was a bit messy. And a bit of shadow under the mushroom as well there. That one and that one. Some of these lines were a little bit thicker than I would have liked, but it is done now. Right, to make these look a bit more, even more like they're protruding, we add a little bit of brown. I'll show you if I can pull this off. A bit of walnut brown. What I do is I leave a little bit of white at the bottom, and then I do quite a gentle layer like that. So like a little bit of shading on it. And it makes it look a little bit more interesting than just being white. But sort of just add something. I think if you can try and make it a bit darker at the bottom, that can help as well. There we go. Now I'm going to keep this walnut brown in my hand for the bottom of them. I'm using it quite well on the very edge. I can use it quite heavily because it's shadow, but the rest I want it quite light, and I'm going to use it quite heavily on the edges and lighter towards the middle. I'm going to use another colour after, so it won't look quite so brown. So the same here, make it quite dark along here to emphasise the sort of shadow that would be there, and then lighten it towards the edges of the gills. Leave the stem at the minute. There we go. Now for this bit I want it darker here, lighter as we go in. Same on this one. Then I'm going to add in a bit of grey. I could quite do with a French grey, but as I've got my Polychromos, I'm going to use the warm grey 3. And basically I'm just go over the top a little bit of where I've used the brown to just make it a little bit lighter and greyer. So I don't want it looking brown, but grey brown. There, I'm happy with that. You could put a bit on these as well, but I'm going to leave them. There we go. Now we have got a pair over here. I think I'm going to do those in blue. I rather like a blue. Not that one though, this one. I'm just going to sharpen it. There we go. This, I think, yes, is the light ultramarine. I don't think I'm going to pick that up. No. And we're going to not worry about the little blobs. We'll do those after. The idea is to try and make it darker on the edge, and then fade it towards the middle. We've got a whole page of mushrooms in this book to do, haven't we? It's going to be quite exciting. I've seen the page with the next door to that one with all the mushroom room with the lamps in done now a couple of times. Oh, amazing. Right, so that's that. It's quite simple. We're going to use a darker one for the little teardrop shape. So I've just grabbed the cobalt blue because it's quite a similar blue. And I'm going to make those quite dark. They might actually look like they're set in rather than sitting on the surface, but I don't mind. I could make them look more like they're sitting on the surface by using the dark sepia to do a shadow like we did on the larger ones. Gonna be tricky. It's very small. Not talking, I'm concentrating. Not sure it's going to be enough to pull them out. We'll see. Maybe. Okay, now the stems. I'm going to keep the stems quite light for this one because the blue isn't really vibrant. So I'm going to go back to our warm grey 3 and just use that. I'm going to make it a little bit darker at the top than the bottom just because it's near the base of the mushroom. There we go. That's it, simple. Now our next little pair in the middle, I'm going to do orange. Sorry for my voice, I have been recording a lot of videos today. This is the cadmium orange. I am trying to catch up. I've got no workmen in, and I've got the kids home tomorrow, and I've got someone coming in, at least one. So I need to get a bit done. So I'm trying to make it a little bit darker at the edges just by going over, layering it over a bit more. I'm not sure what to do with these dots. I think I'll get a brown. We've got a brown here, haven't we? Let's use the walnut brown and just go over those a little bit. They're a bit burnished with orange, but they'll just look a little bit darker. Well, I'm going to do the stems in a very light walnut brown. There we go. And our last one. Colour should we do? I quite like to do in a sort of bronzy colour. I think this one is the one we'll have to use. The burnt ochre. This might look a bit orangey, so I'm going to try. I've just sharpened it to avoid the little circles. If you can't, don't worry, colour over them and then use a darker colour on them, but I'm going to try and do them a bit lighter. So my aim here is to make it darker on the edges and on the centre, just like I've done with the others. I've just gone over the top of 2 of the circles. I'm going to go over the top of them all. I've got to make it match. There we go. So those circles, maybe we'll do them in a dark grey, just so they're a bit different. So we'll grab the Payne's grey. I was going to do them in a sort of creamy colour, but that wasn't going to happen, was it? I'm just going to do the bottoms. Leave the tops a bit lighter. You can use this Payne's grey for these gills. We'll make it fairly dark and then a bit lighter on the stem. There, let's just brush that off. So there are our little mushroom toadstoolies, whatever you want to call them. They were fun. And that was the last one. So shall we zoom out? Do you like to see the whole page? Oh, my camera's going, ah. There we go. There is our complete page. So that was lovely fun. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you for joining me. If you've joined me on every picture, then thank you so much. I hope you have coloured along, whether you've coloured with me, done your own thing, taken a bit of inspiration here and there, whatever. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And yes, I'll choose some. I've got something else to choose now, haven't I? We have to do something different. But thank you again. Have an absolutely fantastic day and happy colouring.